Yeah? Haribol. Hare Krishna, everyone. So, welcome to the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta. So, we'll be discussing Chapter 2 from Volume 1. So, the topic given by Her Grace Vaijandi Mataji was college, marriage, and Gandhi's movement. So, as this topic says, even I'm going through this period right now, so it's very relatable about what's happening around. So, let's move on. So the introduction. So basically this chapter says about Srila Prabhupada, where I'll be referring as Abhay. So Abhay is going through his childhood and his college life, his marriage life, and finally gets involved in Gandhi's movement. So yeah, so he did his college in college education at Scottish Church College. So in 1916, Srila Prabhupada as Abhay, he went to college, and it was located in North Calcutta. It's not far from Harrison Road. So with that, Srila Prabhupada used to stay at home itself, and then from home he used to go to college. And so talking about Srila Prabhupada's college life, so his dad, Gaur Mohan De, he wasn't much interested in sending him to like abroad, or like, it's mentioned that he wanted to go to London, but he didn't allow, since London and places like abroad, it's like the Western culture over there isn't much, relatable to our Vedic culture. It's way, way different. So he decided not to send Gaur Mohan De, Abhay, to London. So he stayed at home, and then, he used to do his usual routines, because Abhay's father had a very strict routine with Abhay. He used to worship Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. So also his dad didn't want him to become a brahmachari. Like, he wanted him to have a normal life, get married, earn, and then, have a life like that. So talking about his college life, in his first year he studied English and Sanskrit, and the second year he did Sanskrit and philosophy and economics. So as Abhay was doing these subjects, he was also part of the Sanskrit society, where he used to recite the chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita to his classmates and everyone. So that felt like very interesting to his classmates, because this college, it was having Christian culture. So due to that, Abhay used to recite chapter 11 to all of his classmates, and his classmates used to take note of that. And and also during his college life, he had a lot of criticism. He saw a lot of criticism happening, because it was a Christian culture college. And back then in Calcutta, like Hindus were very popular. So even Hindu students used to come over there, Christian students used to come over there. So they had a very big criticism. And I would like to share some pastimes where Abhay had during his college life. So there was this famous organizer, like he was a director, and his name was Amritlal Bose. So he used to be a director of movies and everything. So he used to run his movies in a theater in Calcutta. So there they used to play the drama like of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like live form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They used to play it in the theater, and it was like the cost was like around half a rupee back then. Half a rupee back then is like very costly, yeah. And now it's like around 3 to 4 BD. So you can compare that. So they used to run in the theater, and then Prabhupada and his friends used to go there and then watch the play. And later on, Abhay was very interested in taking part in this play. So back then, this director, so-called director, he was, organizing auditions, and he was volunteering people, to take part in this play. So almost for a year, Abhay and his friends as a group, they took part in this play, and then, they were having rehearsals and practice sessions. And then finally, they got an opportunity to, to have a play. And it was in a public, stage like this. So he and his group were doing the play of, like the pastime of Lord Chaitanya. So there, Abhay played the role of Advaita Acharya. And the funny part was, when Abhay was playing this role, like he could see the audience like crying, being so emotional. And then Abhay was like, kind of confused, like what's happening? Why is everyone so emotional and crying? Because later on, like the scripted was like, was very emotional, and it was very sad type theme. So people, they started like being so emotional, and they started crying. And then Abhay was like, what's happening? He was a bit confused, and then that was was his first and last play. And then another incident was back then in the college, the professors who used to teach, they had to learn the local language over there. So the local language, as all of you know, in Calcutta is Bengali. So they used to, it was a kind of rule, they have to learn Bengali, because as they were foreign professors, since the college was situated in India, so they had to learn the local language over there. And there was a funny incident where once one of his professors was walking by the street, and then Abhay and his friends were like, chilling, talking, chit-chatting, and they were having snacks and everything. So this professor, he passed by, and one of the classmates, he was a local Bengali dude. So he was like, kind of making fun of him, about his expensive life and everything. They was just making fun in Bengali. And then what surprisingly happened was, this professor, he looked back at the classmate who was making fun of him, and then he also replied in Bengali about something. And then that was very funny, because they were surprised, because they didn't know that the professors, knew Bengali and things like that. And then they were like, what? They were confused for a second. So, like Prabhupada used to have, college pastimes. Even, our like my age group guys are sitting here. In our school life, we used to make fun of the professors, and, we won't expect that, they'll reply back. So there were things happening like that. And another thing was, since it was a Christian culture college, they had to read Bible every day. Like every morning before they start their class or their lecture, they had to like read Bible and everything, the prayers and, statements and stuff from the Bible. So even Srila Prabhupada used to like read it, but he wasn't much interested in it, since, he had a family background where, his parents were Hindu, and then they used to worship Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. Also, like as mentioned over here, Abhay had faced so many criticism. So one of the thing was, back then there used to be a division between European students and Indian students. So it's not there right now, because right now everyone, everyone is together, all the nations are together, it's multinationality. But back then there used to be a lot of criticism, because the whole life, like his college life and marriage life, was happening during independence, during in India. So, they had that criticism where like the European students and the Indian students, and they used to have like quarrels, fight and stuff like that. And there was one more incident where one of his economic professor, Srila Prabhupada's economic professor, he got very angry for some reason, because social studies is like kind of boring. Like everyone knows that. Even for me back in my school, I used to never sit for social study classes. I used to either bunk or just go around, and then chill around like that. So even Prabhupada wasn't interested much, in political stuff. So one of the professor, like he was teaching, and then he saw all the students were like dull, and then most of them were like very sleepy. And then he got very angry. He was like, what's happening over here? And then he was just yelling at them. And then at last he was like, India will never get independence. And that like shook everyone, because they were having a very bad time during that time. And then the professor was like, you will never get independence. And then Prabhupada was like, okay, I should do something about it. So that was like one of the incident. And then so during his college life especially, he had difficulties like doing deity worship. So it's mentioned in the book, like he used to worship Srimati Radharani and Krishna. But back when his college life was there, it was very difficult for him to worship. Especially he had a lot of assignments and stuff to do, because it was related to politics. So he used to usually go to temples, and then there used to be a temple where the deity form of Radharani and Krishna used to be there. And then it's mentioned in the book that during his childhood he used to go there, and then he used to take darshans, and then he could see the pujaris, like, every day Mangalarti, we can see the pujaris doing arti, offering flowers, and then the smell of the incense sticks and everything. And then during his childhood, he used to play around the temple. There used to be a, a compound, like a grassy compound. And then he used to play around there, and then, like, as children's, like as me, I used to come temple, bow down, come to this hall, and then start running around. As, I was like kind of naughty. So, same as mentioned here, Prabhupada used to, during his childhood, he used to run around the temple and everything. And talking about back to the college thing, the atmosphere of the college was, very political, because whenever Prabhupada used to, have free time or anything, when he used to go around, walk in the corridor and everything, like, the students was talking about political stuff, nothing spiritual, because it didn't make sense. And as I said in the first, Prabhupada wasn't interested in political stuff. And all the students used to, talk about politics and then fight, quarrel, and the atmosphere was like, really bad. And they used to have like usual, casual, conversations, like around the corridors and things like that. And as I said, Abhay used to like barely listen to lectures. He was very much not interested. So what he used to do is whenever he had like pending homeworks or assignments, he used to go to the college library, and then he used to sit there and mind his own business, doing his assignments and everything. And then even when he was back home also, instead of spending time like doing worship or devotional service, he used to spend time like focusing on his assignments and work things to do. So he had very less time and opportunity to like do devotional service. But since all this was happening, his dad had fully he had full trust on Abhay, because as I mentioned, in this college they used to teach Western culture, and then Gauramohan was like bit worried whether he'll get diverted to the Western culture or he'll stick to his own principles, because his dad used to be very strict with him. Like he used to teach him everything related to devotional service, deity worship and everything. So he wasn't much worried. So he had full faith on Abhay Charan that that he would move forward to his devotional life. And talking about that, Abhay had a friend. His name was Rupendranath Mitra. So he used to call him Rupen, like as a nickname. So they were like very good friends, and then they used to sit next to each other in the classroom. And once, like Rupen used to like, absorb Srila Prabhupada. Like, Srila Prabhupada used to not listen to lectures. He was like, keep on thinking, just thinking, sitting like this and thinking in between the lecture. And then he always used to wonder, like, what's he thinking about? And then Rupen once asked him, like, Abhay, what are you thinking? Then you thinking about, like, handing over the politics or something like that? And then he was like, no, I'm thinking about devotional life, I'm thinking about God. So whenever the lectures used to happen, he used to always like get connected, like he used to always think about how to enhance in spiritual life, how to do devotional service, and he used to always think like that. And then sometimes when Rupen used to ask, like, how did the lecture go, how was it, and Prabhupada used to say, I don't like it, just straight on, I don't like it, because it was nothing related to his life, because he had a different mentality at that time. So Rupen had an incident with Abhay like this. So there are many incidents. So, and there was one more incident where one night after like his first year had finished, Abhay's first year of college had finished. So one night after his college, he came back home, and then he was resting, and then he got a dream actually. So the dream was, his dad had given him a deity, like Radha Krishna deity, and then he used to worship that actually. But since he moved into college, and then he didn't have much time to worship, he had put the deities in a box, small box. So since then he was busy with his work and everything, he didn't pay much attention to the deities. So what happened was, as I said, he was dreaming, and then the deities from the box, like the deities Srimati Radharani and Krishna, they appeared in his dream. So they were like, why not worshiping me? Why you have kept me in a box? It was very disappointing, because Abhay had fully forgotten about them, and this deity was given to Abhay like way long back, like many years back. And then Krishna was complaining, like, why you not worshipping me? And then suddenly Abhay got the glow where, okay, I've like abandoned the deity, so I should start worshipping. And then the next day he got the deities out, and then he started worshipping as usual. And so as I said, this was happening during independence. And then so as all of you know, you must be knowing Subhash Chandra Bose was one of the fighter. So he used to visit the college over there, and then he used to lecture the students about the independence, and then how to overcome the British rule and everything. Because at that time it was very critical, where you can't say anything against the British rule. It was very relevant. If you say anything about against the British rule, either you get expelled from school, or you would get like some kind of disciplinary action. And like the college life, the purpose of college life, it's to get a degree, and then with a degree you apply job and everything. But since it was very a risky factor, there was like, it was very difficult to like cross question or talk about the British rule. So Subhash Chandra Bose used to visit the college and everything, and then he used to give lectures, and then how independence should be, like they should get, India should get the independence. And then while listening to this, surprisingly Prabhupada was interested, like how Subhash Chandra Bose, like he visited the college and he was lecturing about how to get independence. So Srila Prabhupada was like trying to connect that, like the independence, with his spiritual mentality, like like independence in spiritual mentality. So that's what's happening over there. And then there was this movement called Swaraj, and Abai was interested in that movement, but he was not fully interested, because they were saying that the independence, or what do you call, the method of using independence was like the absolute truth. But Srila Prabhupada, like he was a little bit against it. He was like, why not add spiritual, what do you call, spiritual tips or something like that, to get independence. So he had a spiritual mentality, where Subhash Chandra Bose, he had a political mentality, like through politics how to get independence. But Srila Prabhupada was like how to spiritually like involve everyone, and then get independence. So that was his mentality. And also he had met Gandhiji at that time, because Gandhiji also was fighting for the country. So in Gandhiji, like it's mentioned that Srila Prabhupada was interested in Gandhiji's personal life, because he has seen that Gandhiji used to follow the principles, same like us. We follow the 4 regulative principles, and Gandhiji also was following the 4 regulative principles. And then Gandhiji used to he used to carry Bhagavad Gita with him, and then he used to read that. And then he also had a spiritual trust, which made Srila Prabhupada very interesting. Like a political a fighter, reading Bhagavad Gita, it's a very great thing. So he was also very much interested in Gandhi's movement. And on back to the slide. So in 1920, Abai completed his 4th career in his college and took the BA exam. So next, moving on to marriage and early responsibilities. So before moving to the topic, so in the Vedic system, it is said that marriage should be done where the girl, when she hits puberty, or when she's about to reach the puberty stage, that's when the marriage should be happening. So if you look at in the book, it is said that Gaura Mohan's, I think, sisters, I believe, they were not sisters, daughters, sorry. So their daughters got married in a very early age. So one of the daughter got married at her 9th year, and then the second daughter at 12th year, and the third daughter at 11th year. So it was very young. So back then, child marriage was legal, but legal in the sense like it was happening before. Like if you look at Rajasthan and everything, nowadays still child marriage is happening, which is illegal. But back then, like it was a very common thing. Like for example, my parents, my mom, she got married at the age of 16, which is very young. And then my dad, late 20s, early 20s. So yeah, back then child marriage was happening. So as I said, Gaura Mohan's daughter, all of them, they were married at a very early age. And in the Vedic system, it's also mentioned that the first year after marriage, the couple, they don't live together, because they have gotten married at a very early age, so they haven't hit the maturity where they can live together. So what happens is, after marriage, either the girl stays at her house, and then the husband also stays at her house, and then that's when the wife, she starts actually serving the husband, like by offering him food, bringing the food to the table, serving him, with the presence of her parents. So her parents used to say, and then she should be there at home with her husband. And then after a year, after the year gets passed, so that's when the husband and wife, they actually start living together, where they like open up with their relationship and everything. So as in the slide, it's said that at a young age of 22, Abai got married to Radharani Datta. That was Abai's wife. And then Radharani was 11 years old at that time. So after her first meeting, so basically for the marriage fixing, the parents of both the the husband and the wife's parents, they both meet each other first, and then they decide, okay, it's time to get married. So they did their first meeting, and then I think it was at 1918 when they got married, but they weren't staying together. So for time being, Abhay was staying at his place, and then Radharani, she was staying at her place. So moving on, so after third year of college, so that's when this marriage fixing was happening. So back then, Abhay was a student too, but he was still a student. He wasn't working because his plan was after finishing college, get a degree and then marry. But still then, since he was a student, there was no income or any source of fund to his family. So that's when he decided, okay, for time being, he was married though, but yet he was staying at his place, and then she was staying at her place. So yeah, so as I said, so there was no source of income. And then Srila Prabhupada decided, okay, let me just finish college and then get a degree, then maybe start working and then move to, family life. And then during his fourth year, he was about to accept his degree, but he didn't accept his degree, typically saying because during independence, as I said, so it was very critical for him to get the degree because, the fight was happening and all the political issues were happening and all the criticism were happening. So, Prabhupada was thinking like, should I get degree or not? And then still, even though he appeared for the BA exam, but his name was there on the list, but he moved away from getting the degree. And when Abhay was 23 years old, so Gaur Mohan had the horoscope. So he checked that, and then it was said in the horoscope that Srila Prabhupada at the age of 70, he would spread Krishna consciousness worldwide. So his dad had known before that, Srila Prabhupada would go to different world and then preach and then make a whole community. Because as you see, all of us are sitting here in this hall listening to this lecture just because of Srila Prabhupada and his meeting with his spiritual master. So, the horoscope had said that in the age of 70, he would spread the worldwide Krishna consciousness movement. And also Gaur Mohan had depended everything on Krishna, like every plans he had made for Abhay he was fully depending on Krishna. Like as Krishna says, like he decides, he would do that. So he had full faith on Krishna that, Krishna would take care of Srila Prabhupada with his personal activities, personal life and everything. So Gaur Mohan was having full faith on him. So after he finished his college life, Srila Prabhupada said, okay, it's time to take a short vacation. So it's said in the book that he traveled to Jagannath Puri. So he had a childhood dream or like a wish, he wanted to go to Jagannath Puri because in his early childhood, as Madhavi explained last week, he used to do conduct Rath Yatras. His dad used to conduct Rath Yatras, and then Abhay had a small chariot where there was miniature deities of Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. So, he used to have all of those childhood memory, but yet he wasn't able to go to Jagannath Puri at that time. So since he thought, okay, why not go? Because he finished his college and he was kind of free. So he thought, okay, let's go to Jagannath Puri. And then the situation at Jagannath Puri was very bad at that time because the Jagannath Puri during his childhood and the Jagannath Puri after his college life had a really huge gap. And then it said that when Abhay used to walk on the streets of Jagannath Puri, he used to see people smoke and then people eating non-food and stuff like that. So he used to walk everywhere, and then the place where the yatra used to happen, it was all dirty, and Abhay was a bit shocked because he thought Jagannath Puri was like heaven, like heavenly feel, but it was very bad and it was all polluted. And then there was a pastime where his dad, Abhay's dad, had given him a letter to meet a person in Jagannath Puri, and he had the letter with him when he went to Jagannath Puri. So he went to Jagannath Puri, and then he met this person, and then this person, like the host, he welcomed Abhay, and then they were having a really good time, and then the host actually offered him lunch. And surprisingly, what happened was when he was serving lunch, he went to the cooking pots. Abhay just was going to the cooking pots, and then he saw a piece of meat on the the cooking vessel. And Abhay was shocked. Jagannath Puri people cooking, meat, and it was shocking for him. And then he asked the host, like, what is this? What is this food? He's like, it's a meat dish. And he was like, what do you mean by meat dish? It's Jagannath Puri. Why would you cook meat here? And then the host was like, I thought this was like the best dish in Jagannath Puri. And, he was completely shocked. Srila Prabhupada was like shocked, what's happening to Jagannath Puri? And then the host was like, casually saying, it's just meat, it tastes very good. And then he was like, that's not how it works. He was a bit sad, and it was very dramatic where the host was offering him meat in Jagannath Puri. And then later on Abhay was like trying to explain the host where you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't eat meat and things like that. And the host was like a little bit ashamed when he realized that taking meat was an offense in the sense like it's a bad thing to do in Jagannath Puri. So this was a pastime where he realized that people around Jagannath Puri used to cook meat and everything. And also when he visited Jagannath Puri, like the temple, as all of you know, in the temple, the offerings for Jagannath Lord, like the pots are like the size of almost a human being. So it's like huge pots. So I don't know if many of you have been to Jagannath Puri, you could have seen that where the prasadam is offered to the Lord. So it's in huge pots. So, he used to see the pujaris like, doing the offering and everything, they used to do the puja and everything. And when they come out, the pujaris, they used to come out and then, go to the side and, they used to smoke cigarettes. And when Abhay saw this, he was like shook, what's happening to Jagannath Puri. Even the pujaris, they are doing a service to the Lord and then they're coming out and then going to another side and then smoking cigarette and everything. So he was like, really shocked about Jagannath Puri. And then there was a pastime where I forgot to mention. So when Srila Prabhupada entered the temple, the Jagannath, I think he entered a temple, just a temple. So he saw the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with 6 arms. So I don't know if many of you have seen the picture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu having 6 arms. So he used to visit that temple where, because back then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very famous there because his leelas and everything used to happen in Jagannath Puri often. So, there was a temple too where, this form was there, and he used to visit the temple. And then, so it was happening like that. And so moving on. So in this slide, it said that after graduation, he took responsibility of family life, balancing both material and spiritual life. So as you can see here, this is a photo of Srila Prabhupada's family. So the black and white picture on the left, you can see Prabhupada and Abhay and his sons, and that's his wife on the left. And then even the picture at the right side, you can see his sons and daughters are there. And there's like a family tree. So as you can see, that's Srila Prabhupada's father and mother. And then he had 3 sisters and 3 brothers. And then Srila Prabhupada's wife. And then he had 5 children. That a son, 3 sons and 2 daughters. So talking about Srila Prabhupada's marriage life. So there was this incident where Srila Prabhupada had mentioned to his dad that he didn't like his wife Radharani. He didn't like her much, and he was suggesting that maybe I should get a second marriage and things like that. And then Gaur Mohan Dey was like, you shouldn't do that, because the sign where Srila Prabhupada wasn't liking his wife was, it's like a spiritual, material attachment. Like nowadays you can see husband is too much loving to his wife. And then this Gauraman took in a spiritual perspective where non-liking a wife is like the first, or it enhances spiritual ability and mentality. So he said it was a good thing that you're not liking your wife. So I mean, you shouldn't take that considered over here. Everybody should be loving, but it's a it's Srila Prabhupada. So he had always a spiritual mentality where he didn't like his wife for some reason, and then Gaur Mohan Dey said you shouldn't be liking your wife. That's a very good sign for your spiritual progression and things like that. So moving on, his business career. So Srila Prabhupada, after his college, he still didn't have job, and then he met his old friend, so Dr. Karthik Chandra Bose. So he used to be the family doctor of Abhay since childhood onwards. They used to check all the medical health and everything over there. And then so Abhay had met this Dr. Bose. So Dr. Bose was like, okay, why not work with me? I have a pharmacy over here. And then Prabhupada said, yeah, sure, why not? And then Prabhupada, he went to the pharmacy, he joined. And then funny part was the staffs over there, the people used to work over there, they didn't like Abhay. Because, Abhay was very young and then fresh. He didn't know anything about medical field because he used to study, political stuff and everything. And then he had no idea what's happening there. And then all the staff used to complain, like, why are you appointing this young child over here? You shouldn't be appointing him. But, like, this doctor had a good faith on him where he knew Abhay since childhood. And then he was like, Abhay can learn things slowly, then and then. So, he can get his time learning on the medical field and everything. So, Abhay worked there in the pharmacy. And, okay. So, yeah, so while working, he met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Thakur, his spiritual master. So, Abhay had gone to Allahabad. So, he had started his own business over there. So, that's when he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And in 1933, he was officially initiated. And that's when, after Srila Prabhupada met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that's when he got the vision where, it was time for him to do preaching worldwide. So, yeah, that was his business career. And these are the photos where Srila Prabhupada is taking his first initiation. So, yeah, so basically this chapter is saying that his life through his college life and then balancing his marriage life after studies, doing work, and then involving in Gandhi's movement. So just a summary. So Prabhupada, he did college and then he got married, and later on he joined the Gandhi's movement, and then things went forward. So the next chapter will be discussing in next class by Ajay. So with this, I would like to conclude my words, and thank you so much for patiently listening to me. And then if I had said anything wrong or misplaced any topic, please do forgive me and correct me after the session. And I would like to especially thank the temple management for organizing this wonderful seva and giving me this opportunity to preach as a youth. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. So please thank one time Hare Krishna, His Grace Govinda Gopal Das. Jaya Govinda Gopal Das Prabhu by chanting one time Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So there is message by Srila Prabhupada to His Grace Jaya Govinda Gopal Das Prabhu. Krishna is very kind. As soon as one begins reading, Krishna will be very much pleased. When you read Bhagavad Gita or Krishna book with little seriousness, then Krishna understands. Now he is serious to understand me. You haven't got you haven't got to search out Krishna. He is already within you. So there is a gift, Prahlad Maharaj, transcendental teaching of Srila Prahlad Maharaj. So it will be handed over by His Grace Madhusudan Vishnudas Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So please welcome His Grace Madhusudan Vishnudas Prabhuji in Balaramdesh by chanting 3 times Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna